ariko murakoze cyane. Watoloka menshi. Ero watoloka emisu. Ero wanyanta mudi minjoskin. Iwe wilanji pusha. Urenda kafiyeni naisa pano nabomba naya. Naisa nabomba naya. It's Friday. Go out there, have fun, and listen to this. Hola, 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 hola. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for that warm welcome, and I'm always very happy to hear that kind of support coming in from all of you that are joining us on Zambia. What a day. My name is John Cena. My name is Dingindaba Jonah Buyoya. If I was John Cena, you wouldn't see me here. Okay, that's like the worst joke ever. But I've got a good one. I hereby ask that P.S. Kangwa Chileshe visits the youth of Kabanana. Anyway, what's coming up on the podcast? Well, heavy rain has damaged major bridges and crop in Gwembe. We spoke about this in the podcast yesterday. The victims in Kabanana. We're talking about how they were leaving their homes going into tents, and I said here that it was such a risk. I have an update with regards to that. But also, female members of parliament want Mumbi Piri to sue the state. They insist that she must sue the state. Deputy Inspector General of Police for Operations, Milna Muyambango, has been fired. Let's get into it straight. Let's start. 2 major bridges, along with several crossing points, have been damaged following heavy rain in the district. Gwembe District Commissioner Kilian Gigandula has revealed that the destructive floods have severely disrupted communities, with school-going children among the worst hit, as they've been cut off completely.
This is the aftermath of the heavy downpour experienced yesterday in Gwembe district of Southern Province. Several infrastructures have been damaged, including bridges. Gwembe District Commissioner Kilian Jikandula has visited various areas to appreciate the challenge and announced that the 2 major bridges, including several crossing points, have been damaged.
Because it was last week when we had another flood. So we went around just to check the extent that the bridges have been damaged. So we are together with the Director of Works, who promised to use those who are working for cash for work. Because some places can be repaired temporarily. But after some time, I'm sure we are going to engage one contractor who is going to work on them. So far, bridges that have been reported are 2, one along Sompan Road, after branching from Gwembe Paper Road. Yes, that one has been done with no vehicle can cross. That one is along Bondo Road at Winyete. That is a bridge before Winyete. It was completely cut off. This one is a public cry because most of the crops that are planted along the streams were washed away. So some were demanding to be given some more seeds so they can plant because time is too there.
Meanwhile, sad faces were expressed this morning when some of the farmers checked their maize fields in trying to see if there are few crops that survived. I'm just trying to check if there can be those that can survive. Otherwise, there's nothing. We anticipate a lot of hunger.
Hope
is lost after what seemed was going to be a bumper harvest for these farmers have completely been swept away by the heavy current, and farmers are devastated. There's going to be a lot of hunger because of these floods, Because we're not going to harvest what we expected. The district commissioners, however, assured farmers of government intervention. After camp officers across the district collects all the information of how many farmers have been affected. Helga Chibwe, Damo News, in Southern Province.
So before I talk about this story, let's also talk about here in Lusaka, where 11 families displaced by flooding in Lusaka's Kabanana West have been evacuated to safety. The families are now residing in tents at Chipata grounds, and they're among those that have been affected since the onset of the rainy season. Well, this was yesterday. What's the latest update? The latest update is that these people and their families have moved into these tents, and these tents are now getting flooded. Let's take a look at this.
The very shelters meant to protect flood victims are now being flooded. Rainwater has been collecting inside the tent, creating an even more unbearable situation for the displaced families. The problem stems from the terrain at Chipata Primary School, where the tents are erected. The land is partially slanted, causing rainwater to flow downhill from north to south, right through the temporary shelters. Families here describe their frustration and despair as they battle the very elements they are hoping to escape. For many, the tents that once offered hope and safety have become a new source of devastation. This situation highlights the urgent need for alternative arrangements and long-term solutions to ensure flood victims are not left to suffer under such dire conditions. Elfie Mwale Shampande, Damo News.
Can you imagine that? They moved from their houses because their homes were flooded, and the DMMU came in to assist them. And they moved into these flats. These tents. The tents are flooded, as you were able to see. And I was just saying to myself, what kind of year are they going through? 2025 is absolutely terrible. Not shocking, though, because, like I said on the last episode of our podcast, this was bound to happen. It's been raining heavily. And if you then now at Chipata School, which is within the same area, you expect this to happen. And I don't even know what I think about putting people who are escaping floods in tents, because the floods are continuing. Putting them in tents. It also says a lot about our infrastructure. So we don't have solid infrastructure for this kind of emergency in Zambia, in Lusaka. Because people in Lusaka who are experiencing floods, you would expect tents in Lusaka. I don't know, it's really, really unfortunate. It's a very unfortunate scenario. And that's the downside of all this rain thing that we're experiencing, which is, we're just complicated as human beings, aren't we? Yeah.
I think there's a lack of creativity. You've got all these seized houses that could be seated there that they could have used.
Well, some of them are still quite hot. So, and speaking of seizure of property, let's take a look at this story involving Tasila Lungu, former President Edgar Lungu's daughter, whose 8 million kwacha Sinda farm has been given back to her for now. But let's take a look at this story.
In a legal turn of events, former President Edgar Lungu's daughter, Tasila, has regained control over her 8 million kwacha farm in Sinda district, Eastern Province. The Court of Appeal has issued a ruling that overturns the previous decision the Economic and Financial Crimes Court made on September 17, 2024 to seize the property it concluded was tainted by unexplained wealth as investigations revealed a discrepancy between Tasila Lungu's income and the value of the farm. The Economic and Financial Crimes Court had found that from 2015 to 2021, Ms. Lungu's documented income amounted to only 154,200 kwacha, an amount far short of what would be required to afford the 8 million kwacha farm. An investigation also revealed a glaring gap between her income and the value of the farm, with over 7.9 million kwacha remaining unexplained. While Tasila Lungu claimed that her father, former President Edgar Lungu, had assisted her in purchasing the farm, the court rejected this explanation due to a lack of credible documentation. Her lawyer, Charles Changano, reviews latest developments from the Court of Appeal Judge Kelvin Muzenga.
The ruling of the court yesterday was that the judgment that the court had given on September 17th, 2024, to order that the property be forfeited to the state was stayed, because we made an application to the Court of Appeal to stay the judgment, and the court allowed to stay. And the court made a condition to say that the property go back to Tasila Lungu, but it should not be sold in any way. That was the condition of the court, which we are happy with, to say that the property goes back to the applicant, who is Tasila Lungu, with the condition that it should not be sold until the final determination of the matter before the Court of Appeal. Because the Court of Appeal, in granting leave for us to appeal to itself, it saw that our grounds had merit in it.
What remains to be seen is when the state will return to this case. Best Jerry, Diamond News.
Yeah, so it's been given back to her for now, because there was a seizure notice of forfeiture by the Economic and Financial Crimes Court that was in September 2024, that this property should be forfeited to the state. Tasila Lungu and her lawyers appealed this decision, and because of that, it resulted in a stay of this forfeiture. So it's been given back to her, but she's been given the condition that she should not sell it. I can't say much about this because it's actively before court, but I don't know. I don't know if she can enjoy it because she's not here. She's not in the country. And her seat in parliament is, her people are not being represented in parliament, and her property back home also, is going through a lot of things. But finally, on our podcast, President Hakainde Hichilema has cracked the whip. He has fired the Deputy Inspector General of Police. He's not said why this person has been fired, but I found it very interesting that the president said in his statement that he is asking law enforcement agencies to respect the rule of law, uphold the rule of law, and respect the citizens that they serve. There's a number of people that have come out and they're saying that the former Deputy Inspector General of Police was a menace. That's what they're calling him. But it's quite clear, that the president is hinting at why he is fired. He never says why he has fired somebody, but Article 270 of the Constitution that they quoted, part of it says that the relieving of duties is sometimes exercised as a disciplinary action for the person that is holding that office. So it's a possibility. And if you look at the president's tone in his statement, kind of points towards that. But it also points at something different. The president's entire starting three at the Zambia Police Service is gone. Lemika Joba has been fired. And apart from that also, now we've got this deputy IG. The other deputy IG was also fired. So all three at the top of the Zambia Police Service that started with him in 2021 are not in the service anymore. But they're not the only ones. Zambia Army commander was fired and another one appointed. Zambia Air Force, similar situation there as well. So a lot going on, really, with the president. And I mean, a lot of people obviously have got to ask if it's an issue of, the president hiring incompetent people or whatever it is. But, a lot has happened since the president became president in 2021, a lot of firing and hiring. for the service chiefs, it's almost the only one that has been surviving has been at the Zambia National Service, and that's quite interesting, quite interesting turn of events. But that's what's going on in our beautiful land of work and joy. Thank you so much for joining in. It's Friday. Go out there, have fun, and listen to this. My name is Dingindaba Jonah Buyoya. Bye bye.